Good morning. Today I would like to talk about Oncotelic. Oncotelic is a publicly traded company, OTLC, on the OTCQB board. Oncotelic is developing drugs to treat rare and orphan indications. Here's our forward-looking statement. The management team of Oncotelic consists of individuals who have worked 30, 40 years in the biotech industry or the technology industry. I myself developed Abraxane and Synveloc through the 505(b)(2) regulatory pathway, which I will talk about later. Amit Shah, our CFO, Saran Shan, our CBO, Anthony Maeda, our CCO. Oncotelic rely heavily on orphan drug designation and RPD programs to gain market exclusivity and access to the RPD vouchers. Orphan drug is designed to deal with disease conditions that are affecting less than 200,000 persons in the U.S. We get 7 years marketing exclusivity or 12 years marketing exclusivity for biologic. We get a waiver on the drug user fee, and we get 25% federal tax credit. For EMA, we get access to centralized marketing authorizations. We get 10 years marketing exclusivity. We get a fee reduction. Now, with rare pediatric designation on top of that, we get access to the priority review voucher, which we can use for another NDA application, or we can sell it for between 100 to 200 million. We have ODD for all the 3 drugs that we have in our pipeline. OT101, we have ODD for glioma, pancreatic cancer, and melanoma. For OxY4503, we have ODD for leukemia. CF4P, we have ODD for thyroid cancer and ovarian cancer. We also have RPDs for all 3 programs. For OT101, we have RPD for DIPG. OxY4503, we have RPD for AML, and CF4P, we have RPD for melanoma. Briefly, I would like to talk about OT101. Our drug product candidate is the TGF-beta antisense. They have completed 7 clinical trials, 6 in oncology and 1 in COVID. It has potential for breakthrough designation, has strong patent protection until 2037. It had orphan drug designation as well, RPD. It has manufacturing process been optimized and scale up sufficient to treat over 5,000 GBM patients. In our G004 phase 2 trial in glioblastoma, 87 patients were treated with OT101. More than 50% of them achieve some kind of clinical benefit, including stable disease, PR, and CR, despite the fact that these patients are recurrent glioblastoma has failed previous treatment. The fact that we have CR in these patient population is rather surprising because you don't expect that in recurrent glioblastoma. Now, in pancreatic cancer, phase 1 expanded to phase 2, P001, we observed the same thing, is that we took patients that have failed surgery, first line, second line, and third line, and we're able to push them to stable disease. 1 patient we have complete response, and 1 patient we're able to push to stable disease for more than 40 months. So this is exceptional and what you would expect in an agent that stimulates immunotherapy against the tumor, which is the mechanism of action for OT101. In looking at treatment for DIPG, we found that DIPG patient has high level of TGF-beta 2, which would suggest that OT101 is an ideal drug candidate for the treatment of DIPG. Now, I would like to switch over to on the 505(b)(2) regulatory pathway. This allows us to access the market quickly for orphan diseases, including Parkinson's and oncology. An example would be Abraxane. In Abraxane, we took paclitaxel that was approved for Taxol, reformulated as Abraxane nanoparticle, and that was approved through the 505(b)(2) pathway. It was approved initially for breast cancer, later on was approved for lung, pancreatic, and melanoma. Abraxane generated roughly more than $1 billion in revenue. After that, after Abraxane, we went on to develop Singulac, which is the next generation of Abraxane, and that was acquired by Nan Pharma for $1.3 billion. The candidate that we're going to be running through the 505(b)(2) pathway is AL101. It's an intranasal apomorphine. It has a unique intranasal technology that allows us to deliver the drug directly into the brain, bypassing the systemic circulation and reducing the first-pass metabolism in the liver. So you increase the efficacy and decrease toxicity. Overall, apomorphine is safer than other form of apomorphine. In comparison to sublingual apomorphines for Parkinson's disease, we have less headache, nausea, dizziness, flushing, vomiting, hypotension. And in comparison to Viagra and Cialis, we see the same. So this is potentially a drug that can be used in Parkinson's and erectile dysfunction and female sexual dysfunction with less side effect and stronger efficacy. The reason that AL101 is favored over other form of apomorphine is PK. It has faster blood accumulation at a lower dose. So you can achieve the same blood concentration with 1/4 of the dose versus sublingual. And more importantly, you can achieve 10 times the drug concentration in the brain with AL101 versus the subcutaneous formulation of AL101. So clearly, this 505(b)(2) regulatory pathway is safe and effective in Parkinson's. If we run a non-inferiority trial, we can get approval in the US as well as the EU and other countries. We're also going to be running clinical trial against erectile dysfunction and female sexual dysfunction. Phase 2 data seem to indicate that the drug is effective in both indications. Nasal apomorphine is effective at 1/4 of the sublingual dose. And more importantly, we can achieve 10 times the drug concentration in the brain. Therefore, the systemic side effect is highly reduced. Now, let's talk about financing strategy. We have a lot of drugs in our pipeline. In order to fully develop these drugs, we would be involved in a significant amount of financing. Drug development takes over 10 years or longer, more than $2 billion per drug. Mateon itself has spent over $200 million. Oncotelic has spent close to $80 million on OT101. To complete the drug development, we have gone this far to ready to go into phase 3. To complete the phase 3 program, we'll be looking at another $100 million. That's a lot of money to raise for a small company. So usually what happens is you're going to go out, do an equity raise with discount to the market and issue new shares, so the shareholder effectively get diluted significantly. But more importantly, the share price get cut down by the equity raise. So we think that instead of going through the equity route, we like to use the joint venture approach as a win-win option. Here we have a joint venture between investors, GMP, and Oncotelic. GMP Golden Mountain Partner will fully fund the JV. Oncotelic will input the asset, and the JV will then IPO in either Hong Kong or another platform. The valuation could potentially be in the $1 billion range, based on our discussion with various bankers. With the proposed 35% ownership of the JV by Oncotelic, this could potentially translate into a significant asset gain by the company, and therefore the market cap should reflect that, and we expect the share price to increase proportionally. Most importantly, the raise is non-dilutive to current shareholders. We offload the development costs and marketing costs of OT101 while we're still enjoying the upside as the JV going IPO, as the JV being successful in clinical development of OT101. So conclusion here is that traditional financing, you're looking at significant discount to the market, whereas the JV financing route, we're looking at significant increase in market value of the company, and therefore the share price. We're looking to announce this fairly quickly within the next several days. All the terms are being finalized, and we'll be announcing this. If not Monday, sometime soon after. Thank you.